A couple of weeks ago, Astro announced that Cloudflare had become an official hosting partner with their donation of $150,000. Today, I'll be using that stack to build a companion site for this channel that will have a dynamic video feed, newsletter signup, all designed with AI, built with AI, and deployed to Cloudflare Workers. Let's build. If you don't already have one, go to the Cloudflare signup page, create yourself an account, add your domain name, copy the two provided domain name servers, and set those up as the DNS name servers for your domain. Over in Claude Desktop, I specified the React MIME type to improve the artifact output, gave it some functional requirements, some design feedback, mostly functional elements. Then I gave it a simple prompt. At this point, I realized I typed language instead of landing page. I went ahead and gave it a little bit more info about the purpose, the channel description, the latest video descriptions, and after a few iterations, landed on something that I'm pretty happy with as an MVP. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and create a new Astro project using npm create. So I can type npm create Cloudflare latest, and it will ask me which directory I want to use. I'll say website. I'll go ahead and choose framework starter and Astro. Now it'll launch the Astro create command. I'll use the basic recommended starter app. I'll initialize get. Let it go ahead and install dependencies. Now it will configure the application for Cloudflare by installing Wrangler, doing some configuration, install the Cloudflare adapter, update the dependencies. I'll say yes to version control again. I'll say yes, deploy. So now it's going to go ahead and build the website using Astro. And in just a few seconds, it's going to upload that. And now it's waiting for DNS to propagate for me. And there you go. Just like that, in a few seconds, we've got the basic Astro project created using the Cloudflare create command. So what I'll do is go ahead and cd into this directory here just to give you a kind of tour. So we have the Wrangler configuration file here that Cloudflare uses to configure different settings. We have the package.json has been updated to add Wrangler. Also added the Astro.js Cloudflare dependency. And the other thing that is notable here is within the Astro config file, you'll see that it has set up the Cloudflare adapter. So that's going to go ahead and set up all of the bits for us that will make it run and deploy to Cloudflare. So now that we have a MVP of our design from Claude Desktop, we can go about integrating this into that Astro project that we just generated. So I can go to Claude Desktop. I'll go ahead and copy the design here. I will just paste this into a file. Then what I'll do is down below, I've prompted Claude to go ahead and tell me what it would look like incorporating that into an Astro project. So it's broken apart that template into logical files for an Astro project, components, and breaking it apart into pieces that make sense. And then the other important part of this is that it's also going to install Tailwind for us from the Astro.js org, and it's also going to configure that. And the reason it's doing this is because the artifact previewer comes pre-built with that. And so earlier in the video, we saw that MIME type that I used in the prompt, and pretty much for free, it knew to use React, it knew to use Tailwind, Lucid, all of those things. So what I'll do is I will copy this file as well. And then I'm going to load Claude Code And I'm just going to prompt it with the template. Use the template.html file to integrate our design into this Astro project. You can also reference this breakdown. Paste that in, and then I'm going to say use the template.html as the source of truth for the design. The breakdown just shows how to break down components. Now I'll auto accept edits, and sure, I'll leave thinking on, and we'll just go ahead and see what we get from this. I'll integrate the design from template.html into your Astro project. Let me first explore. So it's going to read through the current project. Some of the things already existed from generating it. Okay, so now we've got a to-do list here. It's going to install Tailwind. It'll create the layout, logo, header, hero, video card, latest videos. I'll say yes, don't ask me. Again, it's going to install Tailwind. So we will have a list of components created. It's going to configure Tailwind. It's going to update astro.config. So I'll let it chew through these tasks, and I'll fast forward this so you don't have to watch Claude do its work. Okay, looks like it's starting to finish up and it wants to build. Sure, let's try that. And it looks like we've got Tailwind error. So let's see if Claude Code can fix that. Try it again. All right, let's see. Perfect. The integration is complete. All components have been created. The build was successful. We installed Tailwind. We installed the Astro.js/Tailwind library, updated the Astro config, created Tailwind config, created the list of components here, updated the layout, updated the index page. The site is now ready. You can run npm dev. So I'll do npm run dev, and I can use Control B to run that in the background. And if I flip over to my browser, I should be able to hit refresh. And there we go. Look at that. So this is in Astro running locally. We've got our design integrated into the Astro project. We've got the latest video component, got the more videos, the about section, and the thing that I'm not seeing though is the newsletter sign up and the feedback form. So that may have gotten lost in translation, or maybe it wasn't part of my template, but let's go ahead and take a look at what happened with that. Let's see. Okay, so it is part of the template. Okay, so let's just tell Claude. I think Claude got lazy there. This is looking good, but we forgot the feedback form and the newsletter sign up form. Can we get those added? All right, it's going to take another look at template. It'll go ahead and create these two as well. All right, so we've got the newsletter component and the request component. Now it's updating the index page to include those. And it's going to run a build again. Let's just go ahead and run npm run dev again, and we'll go ahead and refresh the browser. Scroll down. There we go. We've got the request form. I think it's a little bit different than what the design had, but this is looking good. Great. So now we've got our template integrated into Astro, and we can go about integrating these two forms. I'll be using Resend for these two forms. So what I'll do is put this into the project here. Astro has a concept of environment variables, of course, and for local development, we can place these files into a .dev.vars. I will say resend API key, and now that that's in there, I can go ahead and jump back into Claude. Now we will go ahead and prompt Claude to create the resend integration. And we will just copy this. Now, resend has basic transactional email, but it also has a audiences section, which is what we'll use for the newsletter. But first, let's focus on the feedback form. The feedback form, and we want to make sure we use an Astro server function to fire the email. Here is an example from Resend. For the API token, we've already stored that in the .dev.vars file, so you should be able to access that using standard Astro syntax. I'll turn on accept, I'll turn on thinking, and let's see if this works. Okay, looks like it's got that completed. And let's see what we have here. We have an API endpoint called submit request, which is the server function, receives the form data, accesses resend API key, sends an email, returns JSON. Now the form request submits to that endpoint, shows a loading spinner, and email will be sent. Let's go ahead and see if this will work. There we go. New request from the Build at Scale website. Awesome. Okay, excellent. So now we have the request form created. Let's go ahead and take a look again at Resend. Adding contacts programmatically via API. This is what we want. So let's copy this. We'll tell Claude. Let's go ahead and implement the newsletter signup form now. Here is a snippet of code from Resend for adding a contact. And let's see what we get. So it's creating that API endpoint, updating the newsletter component to use the API endpoint. Okay, done. Newsletter signup form integrated with Resend. Created the API endpoint, used the contacts create API, adds a subscriber, and added the Resend audience ID to the example file. Add our audience ID, get that from the URL, and save that. We can go ahead and do npm run dev. We'll go ahead and subscribe. Subscriber, sample.com. Subscribe. Failed to subscribe. Please try again. Okay, let's see what happened here. Failed. Any logs? API key is restricted to only send emails. Okay, let's go back to our API keys. Edit. Permission. Full access. Save. Successfully subscribed. Audiences. One contact. Subscribed. Awesome. Go back to the site. So now the only thing that we've not done is made all of the videos dynamic auto updating. So I'm going to put the YouTube data API key that I created off screen in this file. Fire Claude back up. So for this integration, I'm going to use a custom Astro loader, which I found here. I'll go ahead and give Claude the README for it, and then I'll give it a prompt. We need to make the YouTube section of the website load the videos dynamically. We can use a custom Astro data loader. I'll paste the link, read the README for this loader, and then implement the video section and the latest video section. Ideally, we will be able to play the videos directly on site. I'll turn on auto edits. I'll help you implement the dynamic video loading using Astro Loader. Let's go ahead and let it read that documentation. It's going to install the package. It's going to configure the YouTube loader, and it's going to update the latest videos component and implement video playback. Okay, it looks like it finished up that batch of changes, successfully implemented dynamic YouTube video loading. Summary: added the loader package, created config to load videos from the YouTube channel, configured up to 50 videos, displays real YouTube thumbnails, view counts, and timestamps. So let's see, to get this working, we need to get an API key. We've done that, add it to the end file, and test this out. We didn't have to specify a channel anywhere, which is odd, but we'll see what happens. Okay, we've got the error here. Collection videos does not exist or is empty. Check your content config. Let's go ahead and see what file is created here. We probably need to change this here. So let's go to source, content, config. I believe this should be the channel ID instead. So let's try plugging in that. Do npm run dev. Okay, so we have the wrong key name here. Do that. npm run dev again. It's loading all of those videos from the API. And it's looking great with the actual thumbnails. Very nice. So this thing is just about done. Everything is implemented now. We went from Claude Desktop from a basic working MVP to a fully implemented and integrated design into Astro. Before I deploy, I'm going to go into the dashboard. I'm going to go to workers and pages. I'm going to go to view settings. I'll go to the website settings, click add custom domain, put build@scale.tv, domain. So custom domain, build@scale.tv. We need to add this routes section to our wrangler.jsonc. So I'll put routes, put build@scale.tv. I'll save that. So I also need to set some secrets so that my worker has access to those resend details. I'll also add one for the resend audience ID. And with that, I should be able to go ahead and do a deploy. So the site will be built and it will go ahead and upload all of the assets. There we go. Done. Build@scale.tv. Nice. It is live. The YouTube data is loaded. And let's test the form. Awesome. Now, one thing I would mention is that I didn't add a secret for the YouTube data, the YouTube API. The reason is that loads at build time. So when I run Wrangler deploy, it's building and using the API key that I had in my in file, and it's building the content, and all of this becomes static at that point. So the API key is not actually being used in the running website, only for the resend forms. So just to recap, in this video, we went from a design created in Claude Desktop. We took that design, used Claude Code to split it out into an Astro site that we had generated with the Cloudflare create command. We then integrated that fully with Astro. We created the dynamic YouTube data content loader, implemented the 2 forms here on the website. Then we added our custom domain, deployed that out to Cloudflare. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. This really was just scratching the surface of Cloudflare, and I plan on doing a lot more content in the future. So I invite you to join me on this Cloudflare journey while we build at scale.